speaking of us is just the beginning. Remember again, that's when HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to us, I'm giving you a new opportunity, I'm giving you a new platform to start again, but of course we must actually do the heavy lifting. So with that, let's pick up page Kuf Dalid, Be'urei HaChasidus, right-hand column, the last 5 lines. Ki gedei lev bria chadash yesh me'ayim. So remember, says Reb Tzaddik, in order to take advantage of this brand new creation, something from nothing, Yadua liyodim b'sisrei Torah, sheyesh makom umadrega b'hishtalshelus halakus me'ein sof baruch hu shenikra ayin. Merov hastaraso v'ha'alama me'asagas hanivram. So remember again, the way Reb Tzaddik framed this was, I have to create a yesh me'ayin. I have to recreate myself something from nothing. But remember, in order to do that, the first step is I have to make myself into an ayin. I have to make myself, quote unquote, into a nothing. There's some level of self-negation, but it's not a negative self-negation as we're going to see. It's a positive self-negation. So interestingly enough, Reb Tzaddik says that this is modeled after HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. Because amazingly enough, there is a level of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that is called ayin, that is called nothing. Now that sounds counterintuitive because part of what makes the Ribono Shel Olam so unique is that he is everything and everywhere. Yet apparently, says Reb Tzaddik, there is this level of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's called ayin, that's called nothing. Now what does that mean? It means that there is a level where HaKadosh Baruch Hu obscures himself. Hastara, what he calls hastara, so hester panim, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu hides himself from the world, from the universe, from man, so that it appears as if the Ribono Shel Olam is not there. He goes on, he says, Ukishemasig ha'adam or eloki ne'elam kazeh, o misham masig bechinas bria chadasha yesh me'ayin hanitreches letikun zeh ki mavor le'el. So there's the ability of man, well again we'll discuss this in greater depth, but there's the ability of man to reach this level, where man has the ability to reach the level ultimately again of ayin. Right? He has the ability to reach that level ultimately again of nothing. Now what again? Veich masiga adam orze hane'ela mikol harayon mikol harayon hamuchuna ayin. Supposed to say ultimately again, how does man get to this level of nothing? Because you remember again, about saying, if I want the recreation, right? If I want to renew myself, page Kuf Dalid, if I want to go ahead and renew myself in this new world, in this new beginning, if I want to make a new yesh, a new something, I first have to become an ayin. How do I become that ayin? He goes on, he says something amazing. Eliyadua, supposed to say left-hand column, Be'orei HaChasidus, page Kuf Dalid. Eliyadua, Ma'amar HaBaal Shem Tov ala Posek, Hashem Shomrecha, Hashem Tzilcha al Yad Yaminecha. So we'll say here, Reb Tzaddik is going to speak to a really fascinating and dramatic dynamic. So we'll say, so remember, just keep in mind what's happening over here. I know, I guess sometimes get to a level where in order for me to go ahead and really do tshuva, I need to remake myself. But I need to remake myself yesh me'ayin. Ultimately, again, something from nothing. But in order to go ahead and remake the something of the self, I first have to go ahead and ultimately make myself into the ayin, make myself into the nothing. How do I make myself into the nothing? So look what he writes. So we'll say, he's not here, I just want to point out, he's not going to address here exactly how to make yourself into the nothing. That we'll get to in just a moment. But he's going to introduce another fundamental idea. He quotes from the Baal Shem Tov, who says, Hashem shomrecha, Hashem tzilcha ad yad yaminecha, which literally means Hashem guards you, Hashem is your Hashem tzilcha. Now we normally translate Hashem tzilcha as Hashem is your shade. Hashem is your shade on your right side. But the Baal Shem Tov has a different interpretation. The Baal Shem Tov says, Hashem yisbarach hu kimo hatzel sha'ose ma sha'adam ose. The Baal Shem Tov translates that Hashem tzilcha does not mean that Hashem is your shadow. That Hashem is your shade. It means Hashem is your shadow. We'll say, what's the distinction between shadow and shade? So shade is very nice. It provides you with shade, provides you with comfort, with shade from the sun. Your shadow does whatever you do, right? Your shadow mimics you. Whatever you do, Your shadow replicates your actions. He says, so what does this mean, says the Baal Shem Tov? Shashem Yisparach hu kimo atzel sha'osem ma sha'adam osem. That the Ribono Shel Olam is like man's shadow in that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does whatever man does. Ubis arusa dilatasa isar le'ela kichala pu'ulo sha'adam oseh. And therefore, literally again says the Baal Shem Tov, that with an awakening from below, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does whatever man does. Suppose say this is an incredibly powerful yisod by the Baal Shem Tov. This idea of Hashem Silcha, that the Ribono Shel Olam acts in kind. Whatever I do here in this world, that is how the Ribono Shel Olam conducts himself above. Pause here for just a moment. If you look in footnote Yud Dalid on the bottom, footnote Yud Dalid, Re'ei Baal Shem Tov Hashem Tzilcha, Shashem Yisparach Nisnahig Acher Ma'asecha, Kiviyachol Kimol Hatzel Shelcha, Shema Sha'ata Oseh, Kam Hatzel Oseh, Kain Hashem Yisparach Kiviyachol. Suppose the Baal Shem Tov introduces the concept of what we call divine reciprocity. Divine reciprocity. That the Ribono Shel Olam acts towards me the way I act towards him. Whatever I do in life, that's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu reciprocates in kind. See, he goes on, he says, Ba'ar HaMeir, Hashem Tzilcha, I'm reading in footnote Yud Daled, excuse me. Uba'ar HaMeir, Hashem Tzilcha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzilo Shel Adam HaTachton, Hashem is the shadow of man. Mahatzel Hazeh Kisha'ata Bocha, Hu Kinegdecha, Ukisha'ata Sochek, Klenegdecha, Kina HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kiviyachol Yitzchak. This is beautiful. The same way that when I laugh, my shadow laughs. When I cry, my shadow cries. HaKadosh Baruch Hu conducts himself in kind. Ubis orus hatachton nisorer lemala mamish shaveh. Whatever I do here in this world, the Ribono Shel Olam acts in kind towards me above. Ulechol pinos sha'ata poneh, afi lepula ketana shavulos teido ne'emana, dugma ze osa HaKadosh Baruch Hu bi'atzmo. This is incredible. And whatever actions I engage in this world, even the smallest of actions, know that the Ribono Shel Olam mimics those actions above. Ve'im kein, eich lo yismale ha'adam agashmi reses v'zeh pacho dumora u'b'chol itav u'rega'av yavushi chalem v'yifales ma'aznei sichlo. So he goes on. See here, the Or HaMeir just expands on this. And he says that literally, on some level, every single thing that I do is somehow mirrored by the Ribono Shel Olam above. So we'll have to stop over here. We're going to pick up with this Hashem Tzilcha because there's still a little bit more to this footnote that we have to see. We'll pick it up in Meretz Hashem tomorrow, and then we'll plug back in this concept of Hashem Tzilcha back into the Bria Yesh Me'ayin. And in Meretz Hashem kind of cool. We'll finish up Os Mem Hey in Meretz Hashem tomorrow. Shkach HaBosei.